Call to order, City of Forest Park Council Work Session, April 5th, 2021. We have three items, two above the line, the first being an annual note issuance. Councilman Hogan.
You received an email late this afternoon. I don't know if all of you read it, but this issue is this is what we do annually. If you remember, we pay down bond anticipation notes, and then we take the balances and combine them and reissue them and refinance them. We got some information from our bond counselor that causes us to need some tweaking on this. So there's going to be once Sally reads the motion, we're going to make a motion to postpone this for 2 weeks out. So there's no need to go into this right now, or the merits of this right now.
Okay. Don, did you have any comments?
Only that the tweaks that we have to do are really just for just the wording of the legislation. The actual numbers or none of the guts of the resolution or the ordinance changed. They just needed to put some sections in there and word it a little differently with the new some of the disclosures that are required now for the bond issuance. So I'm glad they caught that. That's prepared by our bond attorney, and they updated it. And one of the disclosure companies wanted to make sure that I guess they've changed the way they like things to be disclosed and the wording. So we try and follow what they want to do. So put us off. We weren't going to pass this for a couple of weeks anyway. This, I think, was going to be the first reading. So it allows us to move forward. But the gist of it is that none of the numbers really change.
Right. Good enough. Any questions from anybody on the annual note issuance? Seeing no one, hearing nothing, we'll move on to the second item, Ohio Department of Natural Resources grant applications.
Yeah, this is a resolution to authorize the city manager to request a grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources grant programs. And this would be combined with a grant that we've already received from the state capital budget to do park improvements. And it is worded as in either Central Park or Kemper Meadow, and for either a fitness court or a recreational trail. So it's just getting him the authorization to request this. And the grants would reimburse up to 75% of the total cost. So it's just being recommended for approval.
Okay, Don, anything on that one?
We are, if you remember last year, we did receive, or I guess it was last year, we did receive the $100,000 from the state capital budget. And we are beginning, that was for a larger project. So we're going to take this in phases. And depending on if we can get it, we're trying to leverage that money with some money from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. Depending on what we would qualify for the most, that's probably the one we're going to do right away. This is basically, we're looking at a trail system, a walking trail around Central Park, and we think we may be able to expand it out to Kemper Meadows Park. We need to see what the rules are with crossing the street. But if we can do that, then we'll just make it a much bigger project. And as long as they're willing to fund 75% of it, I think it's definitely something that we want to do. And there's also the other piece of that we've determined is the fitness park, for lack of a better term, that the We Thrive folks want to use, and our fire department. So between the two, we're going to be seeking funding, and hopefully, I believe we'll be fairly successful.
Is that like a parkour course?
It is a it's a play. There's fitness apparatus there, but it's not really moving. I'm not sure exactly how you would call what you would call it, but it is they go and you can exercise on different things, but it's not like you're lifting weights or anything like that. But it's a pretty neat little thing, and Jermaine has put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think he's got some other outside funding as well, some grants to fund a portion of that. So I think we'll be successful either way or both, depending on how much money we think we can get.
Okay, that takes care of the two items above the line. Anybody else any questions?
But no, Don, does that also include the handicap accessible components that would be added?
Well, we're looking at the third piece that we're looking for, but we don't believe that the grant would probably pay for this, but we're looking at the parking, or excuse me, the playground there as probably the first component we're gonna go after. And that would involve the handicap accessible playground equipment. And then we're gonna relocate that playground equipment that's there, what's salvageable, and it's good, to another park. So yes, it would include that.
Okay.
Okay, now we have two items below the line, the annual reimbursement resolution for capital expenditures. The first one. The
If
second one.
you got any questions about it, it's just an annual thing that we do every year.
Mhm.
It preserves our right to spend out of our funds and then reimburse ourselves when money comes available that would normally go towards paying those
Mhm.
expenses.
Okay, and the last item below the line is I just titled it Community Outlook. This was, if you recall, Councilwoman Moore raised the question, it's an issue. And Don, I saw your write-up on it. So why don't you start off, Don, by just going through briefly giving us a summary of your write-up.
Well, the way I took the question is that because of we've been working on redeveloping the Promenade Shopping Center, among other things, but we had a lot of moving parts in that, and a lot of partners, and a lot of things and plans that we wanted to go through. When the new owners took it over, we've been, the question was, how does that affect the things that we were doing? And I asked Paul to come tonight to help, kind of, because he's been leading a lot of the negotiations and with all the folks. So we've been all together, and I want Paul just to be here as well. So the question was, did it change anything that we wanted to do? And it really, the short answer to that is really no. But maybe a little bit of explanation in terms of what the plans were and what the vision was. Paul, if you want to kick in here and
Sure. Go ahead, Paul.
Sure. And Don's really, I think, summarized it pretty well up to this point. What we're looking to do is, you might recall, we had submitted an application to the state of Ohio for the Vibrant Communities Grant Application Program. That grant would have allowed us to do some substantial renovation, assist with some substantial renovation to Promenade Shopping Center, and also include the creation of a minority business development center as a part of that project. We were also going to do a project with Dan Nyer and Nyer Properties that involved the specialty coffee maker coming into the old FitWorks building and doing some renovations there. As Don said, it really hasn't changed our plans any. However, you might recall that our original grant application assumed that either the city or Nyer Properties or some partnership there combined would be responsible for acquiring the shopping center. Well, lo and behold, we had someone who actually wanted to spend make a market rate bid on buying the shopping center. And Woodcrest Capital out of Fort Worth, Texas, actually acquired the property for $1.1 million, which is, you might remember when we sold the North Point Shopping Center over on Northland to Magna Machine. We didn't sell it, the private property owner did, but it sold for right around just under 1.2. So given the circumstances and the economic environment we're in, 1.1 is actually a healthy asking price for the property, especially in the condition that it's in. We've had some good conversations with Woodcrest, because what we're hoping to do now is basically not substitute Woodcrest in there, but bring them in as another partner to the project. So now our application to the state of Ohio would be for the city, Woodcrest, and Nair Properties to work together on a comprehensive redevelopment of the property that we've talked about. Really, the overall plan doesn't change. And actually, in some ways, it may strengthen our plan because Woodcrest wants to, the good thing about Woodcrest is they are not a buy and flip entity. They like to come into a community, buy a property, and then they like to be in that community long term as an investor. So I think from what we've been able to learn about Woodcrest so far, and obviously, until we see, proofs in the pudding, until we see what kind of action they're going to take, the plan that they're putting forward has actually been kind of impressive for Promenade. So I think what we're waiting on is to get some details to their plans for the redevelopment of Promenade Shopping Center. But what this does is it may actually strengthen our grant application because now we'll have, a developer to redevelop the property. We'll have our project on the Minority Business Development Center, which, by the way, continues to gain momentum. And then we'll have Woodcrest coming in as not only a developer, but also as the property owner. And we'll be able to count those retain jobs from the tenants they're going to keep. So in some ways, this may actually strengthen our application. What it did do, what the major change was, is instead of being in the first round of funding, we had to move to the second round of funding. But even that wasn't a major change because the state of Ohio was kind of pushing us, and that Don knows, the state of Ohio was kind of pushing us to the second round anyway, because I think one of the things they wanted us to really strengthen was the sustainability portion of our application. So now that we have a viable property owner, and you've got Nair Properties as a developer, and you have us on the Minority Business Development Center side, and thanks to a lot of the things Don's been doing behind the scenes, we actually now have an even closer working relationship with Hamilton County. We don't have anything to announce, but I think that there is the potential for Hamilton County to be an even bigger partner with us on this project than they are today. So the gist of this is, I think we're going to have a much stronger application. It probably sets us back timing wise, maybe 6 to 8 months. But other than that, we should be in a much better position to redevelop the shopping center and really do it at less exposure on our part. You might remember when we were talking about buying the shopping center, some of the numbers that were being used to buy it. Obviously now we're going to have a much greater amount of private investment in this project. And hopefully that allows us to put our resources together and kind of tackle some of the redevelopment work in and around the shopping center.
Okay, any questions or comments from anybody on that particular thing? Okay, this item was, I found out later on, this was a two-parter.
Oh,
Don, you covered the first part. You and Paul just covered the first part. Her second concern, though, which is why I called it community outlook, the other big concern was what the city looks like physically. And the concerns around that had to do with, and I know I've been out driving around looking at some of it. And Don, I think this may be one of the things that we need to touch base with Jim on, with John again.
mhm.
We have some properties in Forest Park that have been vacated. I won't say abandoned, I'll say vacated by the owners and or tenants. And unfortunately, these properties are being used as Rumpke 1 and Rumpke 2 and Rumpke 3. There's a lot of trash buildup on these properties. I can recall a number of years back, I believe that when we still do it, oftentimes we will place liens on property. I think we're probably going to have to go back to that and do it much more aggressively because these vacated properties, as I said, are really becoming eyesores. people have started to call it to our attention. Some of the council members I know, two of them that I know that I'm aware of, and I know that Councilwoman, I think both Councilwomen Moore and Hope were also. Paul, I don't know who owns it now or what, but it's the property at the intersection of Mill and Waycross. I think it's VMI or whatever. Is that?
It's
what it's
the,
called?
the call center property there on the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
I
There,
know exactly what you're talking about.
there, tons. I mean, literally all kinds of garbage and debris. I'm talking about everything from just throwing out food wrappers all the way up to and including mattresses, refrigerators, old TVs, all of this. And unfortunately, it sits back in a corner of that property where it is visible from both Waycross and Mill. I don't know. I know Chris is aware of it and the property maintenance people, and I believe they may have already made contact with the property owners, but we need to revisit what and do everything we can do to get those people to either A, clean up their properties, or B, we ought to put liens on them so that they can't do anything with the property, or when they are ready to do something with the property, they have to pay us for having done the work that they should have done. A second one that's almost as bad is is the old Steak and Shake down by IHOP and near Home Depot. Same kind of thing with the addition of there is an abandoned car there that has the windshield broke, all the windows are broken out. And I guess people have begun to take parts off of it for their own purposes. But those are just two of the things that I'm aware of. And one of the other things that Councilwoman Moore had mentioned to me that she thought it would have been a good idea, especially since the weather's getting warmer, and because of the pandemic that kept everybody in. People are anxious to get outside. And she thought, I don't know, I'm trying to remember for those of you who've been around here for a long time, she said that she thought that at one point we had trash receptacles up and down on the main thoroughfare, like up Wind Road, up Kemper, Northland, so that people who were walking, there were places for them to throw the trash. If you're inside those shopping centers, obviously there are trash cans, by the stores. But if you're on the outer sidewalks, there are none. And she thought that may be something that we want to take a look at and putting some strategically locating some garbage cans so that people do have places to throw them. And in conjunction to that, I think we might want to start taking a look at too. And I know it's a sore spot, but I've always felt like if you don't enforce, quote, the small ones, then people start to do bigger ones. As I said, the weather's getting warmer. We're getting to the point where more and more people are overhanging sidewalks. The one other thing that was pointed out to me is a number of people now, so that they don't, quote, get caught overhanging the sidewalks, they're parking on the aprons, diagonally across the apron. Well, both those things are violations of code. And, I'm not like, Don, just like you were with the grass thing, I'm not looking to make money on this. I'm looking to make people aware that they have to follow the rules. And I think we ought to maybe look at doing something that says, okay, you're going to get a warning, but after that warning, if you continue to violate the same rule over and over and over again, you got to answer for it. So when she was talking about, it said the second part of community outlook is we don't want our city to be perceived as a dirty place, because that impacts everything in the city. Paul, it's going to impact businesses who look to move to the community, and those who are here, it's going to impact their, when they are having to make a decision about whether to stay. We want to be able to say, hey, look, not only this is a good place to work and to live, it's clean. But it's going to take all of us, all of our department people, all of our employees to start looking at it that way, and to impress upon our citizens. You can't just drive down the street and throw your garbage out the window. That has to be a no-no. So that was the other thing that she had this on here for. And frankly, I guess what I was going to do was introduce it at this work session and then talk in more detail about it at the work session on Monday.
Okay.
So anybody else who has any examples, ideas, or whatever, we need to make sure you bring all those with you. So that was what the second part was about. Anybody else got any comments on this?
So that was brought up about a year ago. And I requested the fines and what the fines had been and how many people were fined for littering, to try to get a gauge on, are we actually, distributing out tickets, so to speak, for all the trash and stuff that people are actually doing, and if you can catch them, things like that. I do still have that. Do we want to get another one? Do we want to request another one to have that for Monday as well?
I'm not, as I said before, I'm not so much interested in it in terms of the ticketing and the money making as I am the educational piece, but coming up with ways that makes it possible for us to enforce it. And by that, I mean, obviously Don can say to the police department, or just like we do with the electrical speed sign. Okay, this month we're going to put this here, here, here. That does it for that period of time when it's in that particular place. But after that month or 2 weeks or whatever, those people go right back to the same old thing that they were going to do. I know that in these conversations, we've got a few more. Councilwoman Herbie had an idea that works. It works in schools, and it may even work with our police department, and it may make it more palatable to our police officers to do it that way.
We can talk about it next week.
I can say that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can say literally today, I met with Chris and sent out an email to him backing up exactly what we talked about. But we are putting together a department head group to address this type of situation, where we're going to review and look at all of the ordinances. John, you'll be on that list too, where we're specifically targeting literally the things you just said. The two individual properties, we met about 2 weeks ago, and Chris said he was they were in contact with one of the owners, and they were trying to clean it up, and we gave them till the end of the week. So we're going to do exactly what you said. We're going to go clean it up and assess them, because they didn't make any progress in the week we gave them to actually get somebody in there and get it done. So that's going to be taken care of. And finally, we need to review some of our ordinances, regulations, to make sure that, for instance, we're going to bring up again, towing vehicles off of private property. That car is there, the ability for us to remove it from behind the Steak and Shake. We're going to make sure that we have that ability and figure out how we can get it done, whether it's placing signs up that says, with tow zones and things like that, working with the owners. But we're going to be talking about escalating penalties and things like that. But also there has to be an education piece in this.
Right.
I think that's the piece that we really have to pay attention to, because when COVID kind of hit, we kind of, the amount of interactions with the police, stopping someone,
we wanted to cut down on that.
we did want to stop it a little bit.
we don't want to appear to be Simon Legree. We know that people are having a hard time economically, but at the same time, we can't sacrifice the appearance of the city for them. And I know, Don,
Absolutely.
you and I've talked about that before. It's a real balancing act right now. And going back to what Councilwoman Nuss said, yeah, we do want our police doing things, but we don't want to come off looking like this, you know, this is a money grab. Yeah, just like we did with
I
the
I don't think
yard
that's
sign.
what it looks like. I just think that data dictates what our responses are. I mean, if you only had, when that report was pulled, there are only three citations, and you know, people are throwing trash left and right. That tells you that there's not a focus on that type of activity either, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
No,
something that we
I
have
don't
to,
agree with
we have
that. There is a focus on that type of activity, but you have to have a policeman right there to see it. And
Yeah.
so we're going to make sure that there's not going to be that, if they see it, there's not going to be that warning. It's going to be, it's particularly throwing stuff out, you know, out of the, you know, you go to McDonald's and here comes the wrapper for the cheeseburger, here comes the fries, and then here comes the drink as you follow them down Winton Road. And you can see the progression on, you know, on Sharon or Winton. In fact, I pointed it out today. You can see the red McDonald's fries.
Trail.
And then about 50 feet later, there was the cup. And, you know, and it was terrible this morning. And we had a nice conversation about, you know, and our public works guys were out picking up trash today, making sure they got it, you know, tried to get a handle on it, because it was, quite frankly, noticeably bad today. But
it is. It's, you know, the trash piece, that kind of trash piece, like it bothers us all. But it's a little bit like, and I know something that we've wrestled with, and John will know this too, we've wrestled with for the last 15, 20 years, and that, like the noise ordinance. If somebody calls and complains that somebody's playing their music too loud, when our police officers get there, if it's not loud, there's nothing we can do. So we're looking for ways to enforce, to educate and to enforce. Some of them are going to be harder than others to enforce, but that doesn't mean, as Councilwoman Nuss, it doesn't mean that we don't try to come up with ways to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a priority, and it is a priority, but I want to make sure that it's reinforce that with the community and reinforce that with our police officers as well, and our school teachers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a lot of what we're talking about is right after school, the kids go across the street to Kroger's, come back out of Kroger's, and then by the time they get home, whatever they bought, they don't have anymore.
Yeah, unless they walk through your yard and they leave it there.
Yeah. So you're right.
Okay.
There's some things we can do, and we're going to heighten enforcement on it.
Okay, Dana, I guess we're ready to switch to go to the meeting.
Denise, you want to do the procedural motions?
No, we aren't there yet. Dana, she's coming through.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Dana. Call to order, City of Forest Park, council meeting number 1372, April 5th, 2021. We will start with the pledge, and this time I'm going to say Councilwoman Herpy. The rest of us will mumble silently.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the roll call.
Sally, you're muted.
Brown,
Here.
Clark,
here.
Herbie,
Here.
Hope,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Moore, Sylvester.
Here.
Motion, Councilwoman Hope.
I would like to make a motion to excuse Councilwoman Moore.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we excuse Councilwoman Moore. Is there any discussion?
None.
There is not. All those in favor of excusing Councilwoman Moore, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
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 Opposed? Councilwoman Dr. Moore is excused. Next item, item number 2 is the minutes. You should all receive copies of the minutes. And are there any corrections or additions? Hearing none, we will move then to item number 3, presentations. There are none. And item number 4 will be communications from the public. Mr. City Manager, anybody?
We no specific items for this agenda. I did receive a phone call though from a young woman, and actually continuing some of the discussion we had at the work session with regards to possibly trying to look at a time limit or on parking across sidewalks in the evening. I told her I would bring it up at this council minute under this point right here, but it's not anything that I would recommend doing. I think it's, in other words, from some time in the evening, let's say 12 to 4, you would be able to do it. I think it's confusing, and I think it sets a bad precedent and shows a bad an inconsistency with the way we want those laws to be enforced. So I brought it up because she asked me to, but it's not. We can maybe discuss it as we're talking about in the next work session, as we're talking about ordinances and things. That might be something we can bring up there. But I wanted to bring it up because she asked me to. But I also would say that I don't agree with it.
Okay. And then we will move next to item number 5, reports of standing committees. First one being Community Development, Councilwoman Moore, who is not here. And then we'll go to Human Resources, Councilwoman Holt.
If there are some people that are concerned or want to serve on board a commission, like the beautification, we've always thought there's a limit of 7, but in actuality, we can have more than 7 on that commission. So I said that to say we would have a possible of 3 openings of vacancies on the beautification commission. Also, the Charter Revision Committee commission has 2 vacant positions. And the last time I received this information, there was 1 position available on the Civil Service Commission. So if there's anybody.
That's been filled.
That's been filled? Okay, so yeah, I just got this the other day. And then Parks and Rec, has that position been filled? So there was 1 vacancy on Parks and Rec. There were 2 on the Environmental Awareness Board of Directors. And Stormwater Utility Board, there's also 1 position. The Tax Board Review, okay, there are no openings on that. So if anybody's interested, you can always go online and complete an application, or you can send it in. With that, it would conclude my report. Thank you.
Any questions for Councilwoman Holt? Councilwoman Holt, saying none. I don't have any items on the agenda for you, but if we have the work session, I would ask you to give us another update on the vacancies.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Next committee report is Law Committee. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have any reports at this time, nor do I have any items to add to the agenda.
Questions for Mr. Brown? Hearing none, thank you, sir. Next report is Public Improvement and Facilities, Mr. Sylvester.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a report under that subject, but I would comment to Councilwoman Holt. I'll do a follow-up on that opening for the Park and Rec. I believe that would be on the absence of Mr. Elias on his moving out of the city of Forest Park, and hopefully I have some information on that for our work session next week.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, the next report is Public Safety Committee, Councilwoman Clark. You're
Kelsey,
muted.
you're muted.
There you
So
go.
my fourth Zoom of the day, I can't remember what I'm doing. Okay. So we are, the police department is still accepting applications only for those that are amazing people like our existing officers. That goes until the 9th. You can apply online. It comes with really great benefits. Starting salaries are really great as well. And then the only question I had was for Ms. Holtz, can we add all those vacancies with the link to them on the on our Facebook site? Like as an announcement?
I'll have to check on that to see if we can do that. You're saying on Facebook?
Yeah, through the government site, Forest Park government site, city government, and then
I
add
know-
the links.
I know, I know they can go out there and see what's the opening. I know they can go out online and see the opening. What they're missing.
Right.
Okay.
But
So,
I'll check
Councilwoman,
on what you're asking me to. I will check on that.
All right, thanks.
any questions for Councilwoman Clark? Councilwoman Clark, I don't have anything on the agenda for you, but if you would, and you have that information that we spoke of earlier, just have that available for the work session, if you would, please. The next report is Ways and Means Committee, Councilwoman Herbie.
I have no report.
I have no items on the agenda for, there will be a postponed item, so that item might be listed on the work session. Next report is intergovernmental relations and committee. I have no report there. I'll answer any questions if there are any. And next item is the mayor's report. Just briefly, first a question. I believe this is for the city manager and or whoever else. I believe, Don, that the program started today for picking up the sticks. What do you call it?
Chipper program.
Chipper program. I think that started today. I had a couple of questions that was asked of me when it started, and I went online. I went on the website and I didn't see it, and I was reluctant to tell anybody that it started today. Or they more specifically, they wanted to know was the schedule the same as last year for their streets. I didn't want to say yes. The person that I said yes to would be the one that may have gotten changed. So I said, I'll check on it. And so if we could make sure that that is in fact online so people can accept that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if it, sometimes these things kind of get buried, I'm gonna make sure there's a button there. Normally it's under the news, but if you go up and type in Chipper at the search bar, it'll take you right to the schedule.
Okay.
And, but I'll actually have our guys put a link on it tomorrow to make sure that it makes it simple to find, because sometimes things can get a little hard to find out there, and we need to make it easier.
Okay. Secondly, Don and Councilwoman Clark passed this on to our police department. Kudos to them. I guess it was last evening on the news with there was an Amber Alert involving Forest Park, and obviously, as we all know now, the world knows, because I think it was on national news as well. Our police did what we knew they would do, and what the world now knows they will do. In closing that out, they're still looking for the gentleman, but thankfully the child was safe, and all is well. It ends well. Like I said, it's kudos to our police department for a job, an exceptionally well done situation. So, and Councilwoman Clark and Mr. Jones, I don't know if you all have seen that or have spoken to our police department about it, but on behalf of the council, if you would pass on the council's congratulations and thanks for a job very well done.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I did not see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
Amber Alert.
everybody's phone was blowing
I
up
didn't even
yesterday.
get an Amber Alert.
Really?
I saw
Get
it.
it.
And the TV. The TV.
I saw it on the
came,
TV.
left it,
Yeah.
and my
It came on
phone.
before
Yeah,
the phone.
I
yeah,
got
it
nothing.
did.
Our guys did a great job. We talked about it today with the chief, and you know, you're
Awesome.
right. The best part about it is the child was returned unharmed.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken great pride today when people have called me and asked me about, you know, my position was, oh, well, you know, hey, that's just another day on the job for our guys. They do that all the time.
They do.
So that would conclude my report. Oh, I would add that the fire chief and assistant chief are working with the county health department. The county health department is looking to establish a permanent vaccine center in the northern part of the county. And obviously, we are pushing very, very hard for that site to be in Forest Park. So stay tuned. And as we progress down that road, we will obviously get back to you and let you know what's going on. That will conclude my report. I'll answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none, we would move then to item number 7, the city manager's report.
Yes, I'll take that a little bit further with the chipper program. It did start today, and it runs so basically the same schedule as last year. It's going to run through October. Basically, the first Monday of the month is when it begins, and it'll be for that first week. We did a little with the help of Waycross Media. We did a little show with James Roberts, who's our public works manager. And we did our little off the cuff show last week and publicized it on Friday. So if anybody has any questions about how to run it and how to do it, it'll actually show you exactly how to find the schedule online. It'll also tell you some of the rules and regulations that we're trying to accomplish to make the things more efficient and make it so that we can cover the entire city in the first week. So it's still running. It's on YouTube. And if you want to go and take a look at it, it'll tell you a little bit about the chipper program and how it's going to run this year. But we'll make sure we put a button out there tomorrow specifically for the chipper program so everybody can see it and find it really simple. We are waiting to hear this week. Hopefully this week it's supposed to be released. We've got some grant applications in for the county for road programs. In particular, Kemper Road, extensive repairs there for a portion of Kemper. But we're also, with the help of Ms. Councilmember Clark, going to, once we get that information together as to what the first phase is, expand that out and put an application in for some other funding through SORTA or the issue 7 funding. So we're looking forward to leveraging those monies all into a much larger project that we believe will be able to get us up around Wenton and Kemper and almost all the way down to Ken. So we're hoping to be able to do that and announce something soon, at least for the first phase of that project, which is going to be funded through money through the state and through Hamilton County, as well as our portion as well. So be looking for that next week. We hope to have a good announcement. Our fire department, again, the mayor is absolutely right. We've been working with the county and trying to find a permanent site here, and we believe it should be in Forest Park. We're also working to try and attract other county services out here. We don't have anything to announce yet, but we're working behind the scenes, and we want to thank the county and all of our supporters down there who are helping us with those actions. So other than that, if anybody's got a question or a concern, I'd be glad to answer it.
Any question for city manager? Hearing none, thank you, sir. We will move to item number 8, other reports. First of those being Mr. Wyckoff, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Denise, I'm not going to tell you who I'm rooting for tonight. I've been on the losing end of every big game, and I'm not even saying it. But I like East Walnut, the Walnut Hills High School.
Okay.
All right.
I only have one thing to report tonight. I've been working with the police department in the Divert program. If you're familiar with Women Helping Women, these are advocates of the Divert program for more serious issues regarding intimate relationships and abuse. And we've been working through how we produce public records with the privacy issues that may or may not be involved. And that's a great program, and the police department's doing a great job working with that unit to help keep people safe out there. But that would be the end of my report, unless there are any questions.
Questions for Law Director?
Mr.
Hearing
Mayor,
none? Yes, sir.
I just, I want to make sure I did miss something. It's really, I think it's really important. It's a really good thing. We've been talking about the police department. And we're going to have a more formal announcement, but I really want to make sure, since we've been talking about them this evening, they just received official notice that they've been working on accreditations through CALIA, which is the gold standard of police accreditation, which means
Right.
we're doing things right. Our policies, our procedures, our training, everything is top of the line, as best as it can be. And it's been a long process that they've been going through, and it's hard to get. And we just received official notice that we've been accredited through CALIA, and we'll be getting all of the official documentation, and we'll have a better presentation. But when we're talking about our police department, and even our fire department as well, but all of our public services, we're talking about our police department. I think we've got a great reputation as being community oriented and a service department. And I think that's what we do, and we do it well. And when we need police protection and we need them to do whatever they have to do, which is a tough job, they do it with professionalism and training that is second to none. So we're very proud of this accreditation, and we'll be getting more about it. We'll make a bigger announcement, but I just wanted to follow up with, since we're working, John mentioned the program that he was mentioning. There's a lot going on there at our police department, and they are really proactive. So kudos to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don, since
Yes.
you decided to go back, I'm sorry, there was a question I needed to
Darn
ask
it.
you. As far as taxes are concerned, has it been extended, or April 15th is the deadline?
No, that's a good question. We have extended the deadline to May 17th. The tax office is open right now. And so if you have any questions, concerns, or need any help as a citizen, go down there. They'll walk you through it. They'll take care of you. We are actually setting up the scanning programs. Rob's going down there tomorrow to make sure they have it all ready to go. But there's plenty of opportunity right now because it's not that crowded. So if there's a citizen out there that needs help, now's a good opportunity. You can show up and they'll take care of you. It gets crowded and more hectic as it gets closer to the filing deadline, but the filing deadline is not April 15th, it's May 17th. And we'll have extended hours that week to make sure that we service everyone. And we'll have Saturday hours as well. But it is located as it was last year down in the senior center. So it makes it, we were still able to have the social distancing, spread everybody out. And I think it really worked out really well last year. So we're going to continue that this year. So April, as of today, it's May 17th is the filing deadline.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next report with Clerk of Council, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that ordinance, that resolution numbers 03-2021 and 04-2021 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
You. We will move on to new business. There is a motion before. Councilwoman Holt.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on 2 separate days and read by title only, ordinance number 03-2021.
Second,
It's been moved and second that we suspend the rules requiring the reading on 2 separate occasions and read ordinance 03-2021 by title only. Is there any discussion?
Only that this ordinance was posted 6 days prior to this meeting.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Brown,
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
He said yes, but
Yes,
there's
okay.
static. He said
We
yes.
have
Clark?
a connection issue.
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Moore. Oh, I'm sorry, she's not there. Sylvester.
Yes.
motion to suspend passes 6-0. Now, the first item is item A, ordinance number 03-2021. Would the clerk please read this ordinance by title only?
Ordinance 03-2021. An ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $2,835,000 various purpose bond anticipation notes by the city of Forest Park, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds of the city and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion on the Councilman Irby?
yes, I would move to postpone definitely ordinance number 03-2021 to April 19th, 2021 council meeting to allow for additional discussion of changes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we postpone definitely this article 03-2021 till the council meeting on the 19th. Is there any discussion?
Well, as discussed in the work session, this doesn't pertain to any figures contained in this ordinance. It has to do with a recommendation from the bond attorney to tweak some language. So we're going to postpone it until 2 weeks from today.
Further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to postpone?
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
motion to postpone passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is a motion. Councilwoman Hope.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read resolution numbers 05-2021 and 06-2021 by title only.
second,
It's been moved and second that we suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on resolution 05-2021 and 06-2021. Is there any discussion?
Only that the resolutions were posted 6 days prior to the meeting.
Any further discussion on the motion to suspend? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Herbie,
yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
motion to suspend passes 6-0. Next item is item B, resolution 05-2021. Would the clerk please read that resolution by title only?
Resolution number 05-2021, delegating authority to make declarations of official intent and allocations with respect to reimbursements of temporary advances during fiscal year 2021 made for capital improvements and acquisitions for municipal purposes to be made from subsequent borrowings.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Irby?
I would move adoption of resolution number 05-2021.
Second.
Moved and second that we adopt resolution 05-2021. Is there discussion?
Yes, this is a routine action that we take because the money, the tax money and other monies that come in at various sporadic times throughout the year. We sometimes have expenditures that we have to pay for out of city funds. And this allows us to make that as an advance and then reimburse ourselves from the funds earmarked for these purposes when they come due. So I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on resolution 05-2021?
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie.
Yes,
resolution 05-2021 passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 06-2021. Would the clerk please read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 06-2021, a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit an application for the Clean Ohio Trails Fund recreational trails grant programs from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for 2021.
Is there a motion, Councilman Murray?
I would move adoption of resolution number 06-2021.
Second.
And moved and second that we adopt resolution 06-2021. Any discussion?
Yeah, as the title says, this is a motion to authorize the city manager to file an application from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for a grant program that would be added to a grant that we received last year from the state capital budget to do improvements in to major park improvements in one or two of our parks in the city. And I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on resolution 06-2021?
Johnson,
Yes,
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes,
Holt.
Yes.
resolution 06-2021 passes 6-0. That's all of the business on the agenda. Is there anything else for the good of the order from anyone? Anything else from the good of the order? Sally, do I need to come in and sign all these? All these be done otherwise?
I should be able to get your signature on these from the website.
Okay, and Don, one final question for you. Do you have any, can you give us any idea of when the floor work will be done down by the, on the first level by the office?
It
Councilor?
is, it should be done by May 1st. It was pretty stinky down there today with the glue. And, but yeah, that's the last piece of the construction is the installation of the flooring. And we've been told that the entire building will be able to be occupied in full in all the offices by literally the first week of May. So we're making, our plans are to have all of our employees, because we've done a lot of construction to make it safe and secure and healthy. We're going to bring back all of our employees, and there'll be most of them will be working from the building then. So assuming that everything stays on track, it's about 2 weeks out.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing no one and seeing no one, just as always, still keep in mind the pandemic is not over. So remain safe and stay careful and stay away from the crowds. Keep those masks on. Everybody have a good evening. Go watch the game.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
Don,
right.